Oh, welcome back. The public has until mid-July to submit issues for consideration regarding the SABC. Yesterday, Communications Minister Nomvula Mokonyane unveiled plans for a broadcasting policy review starting with the public broadcaster. Now, the broadcaster's mandate, funding model and governance issues will be among the points under discussion. So to talk to us more about this policy review from our Pretoria Studios, we're now joined by the Acting Director General in the department, Dr. Mashilo Boloka. Dr. Boloka, welcome. Thanks so much for speaking to us this morning.
Good morning, Sakina, and all South Africans wherever they are.
First off, the minister spoke yesterday about a new vision for broadcasting. So can you unpack that for us more?
Thank you very much, Sakina. You will recall that the existing policy for South Africa in the broadcasting sector were formulated as far back as in the mid-90s. We finalized that in 1999. So it's almost 20 years since the last policy was formulated. And key to that policy was to kind of create or build a broadcasting sector for a new democracy, given that we are just emerging out of transition at that time. So a lot has changed since. There are a lot of developments in the sector driven by technology and even driven by us as a new nation that is over 23 years old into democracy. So how do we really deal with those issues? And issues of unemployment and the reskilling of our youth, which I think the broadcasting sector has got a critical role to play and absorb them. So thinking about those challenges, our broadcasting policy is very, very archaic.
Dr. Boloka, let's start unpacking them even further by looking at the various sectors. We'll touch on a few, starting with digital terrestrial migration. So we have missed the international deadline that was set for 2015, and subsequently we've also missed some of our own deadlines. So what exactly is the problem there?
Well, I think the biggest challenge has been on the nature of the delivery model. Admittedly, one can say that maybe as government we thought we'd be able to do policy and implement it at the same time. In other words, implement the same project. And the other thing one can say that we haven't really mobilized the private sector or the industry to join us on board, because in as much as government, we provide the vision, we should be able to bring the industry along with us. So one of the things that Minister has been trying to inculcate since she took over the portfolio in February was to say, how do we look at the model in such a way that it can be a sort of a partnership and collaboration between government, the industry, and the citizens. This is what the NDP requires of us, collaboration, partnership, because the kind of resources that we have in government, there are, a lot of competition for them, higher education, roads, security, safety, all those kind of things. Therefore, there's no way in which we will be on our own, be able to carry that project on our own. So what we have been trying to do is to say, how do we bring in the private sector, particularly the broadcasting industry, to be part of it. So that's, I think, the mode that we are in, and that's the revision to the delivery model that we are doing, to say that the sector is willing, and therefore let's take advantage of that.
But Dr. Boloka, neither the public sector nor government is new to public-private partnerships. So could there be something else that may be underlying this process not taking off?
Well, I can confirm that I think in the last couple of months there have been that keenness on the part of the private sector, both the broadcasters, the telcos, as well as the retailers and manufacturers. So the most important thing is to bring them closer instead of putting them somewhere else. That's why, if I have to tell the truth, if you go to any retail store in South Africa and try to look for a set-top box or any digital-enabled equipment, you won't find it. The only ones that are available are the ones that are provided by government, which are distributed through the South African Post Office. Therefore, I think that's one thing that we need to change, because Sakina and I don't have to wait and queue for the subsidy that is provided by government. Therefore, we should be able to go to retailers and buy our own set-top box. That's the only way in which you can accelerate the whole process and make sure that South Africa switches off and join the rest of the world.
So what is new now in this regard is Santec's Aldred Dreyer. He's now been appointed to lead the digital migration project. However, you still haven't set a finite time frame to this process.
Okay, the major changes that the minister announced yesterday morning was, one, that the project won't be implemented within the department structures. That has been the case all along. In other words, the project management office was a branch within the Department of Communications. And then we realized that if you go on that route, every time when the department is affected by whatever constraints or budget cuts, which is a normal thing across government, especially in this severe resource-constrained environment, then the project gets affected. So what we have done is to unbundle the project out of the department so that it can be an entity, a separate entity with a project director, with its own team, led by Aldred Dreyer, so they can really focus on that project. And as government or the Department of Communication under the leadership of the minister will only be playing that oversight role. I think that's how projects should be implemented.
But we still don't have a deadline.
The second thing is we are saying that we are not necessarily...
And we're going into elections next year.
Let me be honest with you. Yes, let me be honest with you. I think the challenge over the years has been to rush into making announcement for deadline without looking at the magnitude of the entire project. And Minister said yesterday we need to be realistic in our goals. The province that I can assure you that we are going to switch come December 2018 will be the province of the Free State. This is because there's a lot of work that has gone there, and we got huge support from the provincial government and the premier in that province. And we hope to kind of strike similar agreements and arrangement with other provinces. So once we have done that and we have built enough momentum, and then the set-top boxes or integrated TV sets are available in the retail sector, we'll be able to say this is the exact time. Unlike rushing into or getting tempted to announcing the date only to find that you are not going to meet it. You will recall that the first date that as South Africa we have set ourselves for, when Cabinet approved the Broadcasting Digital Migration Policy in 2008, was 2011, which was a 3-year period. The reason behind that was simply to avoid South Africa being a dumping ground for most of the technologies once the first world countries like Europe and the Americas have migrated. And unfortunately we missed that. And we also missed the 2015 deadline set by the ITU, the International Telecommunication Union body. So, and since then we've been saying every year we set a new date. And that's why I think we suffer the credibility deficit. And we need to really change that. So that's why the minister said that ours should be to look at the assessment and be realistic to ensure that whatever date that we set from hands on, we will consult cabinet and definitely say it. But for now, the focus is on the Free State come the end of the year, because we'll think if we do that, all South Africans can see that this project is doable, and we'll start announcing the date for others. But we'll try to move it with speed. That's the intention.
In conversation with Dr. Mashilo Boloka, and he's the Acting Director General in the Department of Communications, and we're talking about this new vision for broadcasting in the country. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about, amongst others, the vision for the SABC.